Welcome back. I'm here with Tim Eichenberg. We're talking to him about the local and state economics there. When we're talking, I was trying to move into national, but we'll come back to the state. We'll skip the national for a little bit. I know you're running for state treasurer. I know the things that state treasurer, I'll let you, for the viewers, what the state treasurer's office does and what they don't. They often confuse with IRS, Internal Revenue Services and stuff. We get that question once in a while. So I'll let you say it in your words, what the office is that you're running for.
Well, first of all, let me thank you. I didn't do that at the beginning of the program. Thank you for the opportunity for being here.
Absolute pleasure to have you here.
And especially to talk about something like the state treasurer's office. I mean, it's just exciting for me to be able to do that. The state treasurer primarily is the state's banker. We receipt and disperse the monies that are collected by the state. And that's the primary obligation of the state treasurer's office, in my opinion. We also sit on many boards and commissions which have a direct impact on you, from the State Investment Council to the Public Employees Retirement Board to the Educational Retirement Board. So those are some of the responsibilities that the treasurer has. And I have that kind of experience to be able to move the state treasurer's office forward, and that's why I'm running for state treasurer.
You were in county, correct? County
I was
treasurer.
the Bernalillo County treasurer right here in Albuquerque.
That's where your primary experience. That's
did.
how you got into finances at that point. The
That's
state.
correct.
What was that like, county? I know it's a lot smaller. This is statewide.
You know,
so
it was a lot of fun as a young county treasurer. I guess the things that you enjoy most and you remember the most is not just your staff and the hard work that they put in, but when you get letters addressed to Albuquerque, New Mexico, USA, you know, you look at that and you think, boy, you know, our geography teachers are failing people back east of the Mississippi. But the treasurer's office, you know, at that time we were the highest collection rate.
the largest county, so I'm sure you had your hands full there. Yeah.
Large staff. When I went in, we had almost 50 employees, just like the state treasurer's office has currently.
What do they have now in current employees?
It's 40 plus employees. Some of those are exempt, some of them are non-exempt employees.
And you're okay with that? Would you increase it, decrease it?
No, I think that James Lewis has done a remarkable job in coming in at the time that he did. And from the opportunities that I've had in talking with James and other staff people, I think that it's adequately staffed and the people know their jobs. And my job is just to make sure that we all do our jobs and make it transparent so that the public knows that we're doing our job. And I will be a full-time state treasurer.
What is it that you see? I know James Lewis did a great job, like you said. I followed his career a little bit. What would you do differently than what he? I know his predecessor had combined two of these. I think the investment office and then the management, the money manager. He combined it together. I'm not sure if James kept both of them the same, because you don't have to follow what your predecessor does. Would you change anything in there as far as that, or?
You know, I had this conversation with Mr. Lewis, and I basically told Mr. Lewis that I don't see any changes at this time. I would like the opportunity to be there on a day-to-day basis and see how well the staff works with each other, and to see what is being accomplished and at what level. To even presuppose that I have a better idea than what is already in existence, I think would be foolish on my part.
So you're going to approach it very kind of cautiously to see how things are working.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good approach, because if you go in there to try to change too many things, especially in money management, and then this is the state's money, so you're handling a lot of funds there and stuff. The budget was increased this year, went up, I think, by 4.5%.
A little bit, that's correct.
The state, do you have any opinions on that as far as? I know, because a lot of that has to do with the oil and gas revenues. So there's a little bit of money coming in. Natural gas has been down. We're getting a lot of money from oil. How do you see that playing out as far as the budget increase there, the 4.5%? I didn't see that. I didn't think they would increase the budget by that much.
Well, we briefly touched on balancing the budget back in 2009, and we did that on the backs of state employees. Our pair of employees, we asked them to pay more into retirement. That hasn't been made, they haven't been made whole as yet. So they're still feeling that crunch of back in 2009 when we balanced the budget. Our employees work hard all across the state of New Mexico, not just in the Treasurer's office, but all across New Mexico. The state employees give you a dollar's work for a dollar's pay. And I would like to see more for our employees.
Are they underpaid or overpaid? I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I wanted to ask that question. Do you think they're the state? Because I get that a lot.
We took more from them when we balanced the budget and their contributions. So at that point in time, we actually took salary from them, and we haven't allowed them to gain that back as yet. So from that standpoint, they're not being paid what they were being paid back in 2008. So
in comparison to other states, are we higher or lower as far as the
in other states, I think we're lower.
But then the economy is a lot better than us.
And the economy is much better.
That has a lot to do with it.
And we do have, we don't, only Santa Fe has a working wage right now, if you stop and think about it, at over $10 an hour. And so it's very difficult. And as I travel the state of New Mexico, if you go down to Lordsburg, where they have very few jobs, very little employment, it's devastating to that community. So everybody suffers. And yet we see in the Albuquerque Journal and on the news just the other evening, the boom in Hobbs, where they don't even have housing for the people that need housing. They've got the jobs filled, but they can't, they don't have enough housing for them. So we see just that dramatic change from Lordsburg to Hobbs down across the southern part of the state. One of the things that I liked about James Lewis is that he brought in the only banker now works for the state treasurer's office in that cash management area. And he used to be a president of a local union savings bank right here in Albuquerque that James has taken to Santa Fe. So James has surrounded himself with smart, capable people, and I look forward to working with him as we go
You have
forward.
to be, I think, to be in that office. I think you have to be pretty intelligent. You have to have good sense as far as finances goes. 2010, I believe the House passed a bill, SB 66, having to do with money being in Bank of America. They wanted to move it and bring it to local banks. Do you know how that played out as far as?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I think they had approximately 1.5 billion Bank of America there, and they wanted to move it. So that was a bill, and I think it was introduced in the House there, HB 66, as far as I can remember. And it was supposed to take the money from Bank of America and move it to local banks because they are the ones that were giving out the loans and things like that. And I think that was, when I looked at it objectively. I said, well, maybe this might work. We don't want to make enemies with the banks, but at the same time, if it's sitting in Bank of America and the local banks are giving out loans and credits and stuff, we might want to go with that route. And I think, but I'll let you, next time I invite you, maybe you'll look into that for us.
That would be wonderful. I look forward to doing that.
Anything else that sticks out as far as the state treasurer's office, as far as their budgets or how they handle things or something?
They have the same difficulty the other state agencies do, and that's with the SHARE program that we all know about and we keep reading about in balancing to the SHARE program with the other state agencies. That's something that will be a concern of mine and certainly an opportunity for us to continue working to make sure that we balance the state checking account through that SHARE program. But that's been a problem for James since he came in, and it hasn't gone away as yet.
It has. We got about a minute left before we're going to take another break and come back.
Okay.
But when we come back, let's talk a little bit about as far as how the office works and functions with the other offices and things like that. I know you probably work with the governor's office a little bit. I'm sure the legislature, you have to work with them. Let's talk a little bit about how it functions and what the inner mechanisms are. Okay. That way people understand. Right. That way the viewers, I always like to educate them on how the office functions and everything. So we'll take a short break. We'll be back in a few seconds.